عشق و به جان رفته به اوج آسمان هر که ندید رفته به خواب ماهی تشنه زیر آب هر که بدید عشق و فنا عاشق بیچون و چرا هر که گذشت از من و ما گشت ز جان و دل فدا این آتش عشق اگه در زند صورت ظاهر همه پر زند این آتش عشق اگه در زند صورت ظاهر همه پر زند عشق همه در جان تو همه در جان تو همه در جان تو هست به فرمان تو همه مهمان تو همه مهمان تو عشق همه در جان تو همه در جان تو همه در جان تو هست به فرمان تو همه مهمان تو همه مهمان تو هر که بدید عشق و به جان رفته به اوج آسمان هر که ندید رفته به خواب ماهی تشنه زیر آب عشق همه در جان تو همه در جان تو همه در جان تو هست به فرمان تو همه مهمان تو همه مهمان تو عشق همه در جان تو همه در جان تو همه در جان تو هست به فرمان تو همه مهمان تو همه مهمان تو
ای جان جان عاشقان ای ماه و خورشید نهان هر لحظه نامت میکنم از دل سلامت میکنم تو لطف و صلحی و صفا تو نور عشقی و وفا هر سینه گر کار شود تو باز داری سینه ها بی کس نماند این و آن بیدار ماند جسم و جان رفتان تویی رحمین تویی تو نور حقی در امان ارتش دلیران این شرفگان این شیران بست و با و سرکشما از مراز خود ایمان نفشان چنین بر لب از هزار و مرد و زندان ایران آزاد شود ایران آزاد شود ایران آزاد شود ایران آزاد شود
زندانی سیاسی آزاد باید گردد، حکومت اعدامی نابود باید گردد.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin the program with Iran's national anthem, Ey Iran.
ای ایران ای مرز پرگوهر ای خاکت سرچشمه هنر دور از تو اندیشه بدان پاینده مانی تو جاودان ای دشمن تو سنگ خار ایمانم جان من فدای خاک پاک میهنم مهر تو چون شد پیشم دور از تو نیست اندیشم در راه تو کی ارزشی دارد این جان ما پاینده باد خاک ایران ما ایران ای خرم بهشت من روشن از تو سرنوشت من گر آتش بارد به پیکرم جز مهرت در دل نپرورم با آب و خاک و مهر تو سرشته شد مهر اگر برون رود تو هیشمت دلم مهر تو چون شد پیشم دور از تو نیست اندیشم در راه تو کی ارزشی دارد این جان ما پاینده باد خاک ایران ما
My friends, my fellow countrymen and women, and to all our distinguished guests and allies, look around you. This is the truth the mullahs want to hide. This is the truth that the UN inside that building must acknowledge. The third option, as presented by President-elect Maryam Rajavi, is regime change by the people of Iran and their organized resistance. Today we are showing the world what that change really looks like. We are here to show the world that this is the real voice of the Iranian people. We are here, thousands of us, from 40 different states, to declare with one voice, yes to regime change by the Iranian people and the organized resistance. Since Pezeshkian took office, there have been nearly 1,800 executions of prisoners, including political prisoners and women. Over 21,000 have been arrested on political charges. On July 27th, two brave MEK members, Mehdi Hassani and Behruz Ehsani, were executed, and many more still face imminent death. State media openly warns of a repeat of the 1988 massacre, when 30,000 political prisoners, many of whom were MEK members, were executed in a matter of months. The UN's own special rapporteur, Javaid Rahman, recognized it last year as a genocide and a crime against humanity. At the same time, while killing its own people, the regime accelerates its nuclear weapons program. On August 28th, Europe triggered the snapback mechanism. And just this past week, the United Nations confirmed the pre-JCPOA sanctions will be reimposed on the regime on September 27th, just a few days away. As Mrs. Maryam Rajavi has said, this is long overdue. To the governments of the world, to the UN, hear us. Hold the regime accountable for its genocide and crimes against humanity. Recognize the right of the Iranian people to overthrow this tyranny. This is the largest gathering of Iranians in the United States, with support from Iranian American communities in over 40 states. Earlier this month, tens of thousands rallied in Brussels to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the MEK and to endorse Maryam Rajavi's 10-point plan for a democratic, secular, non-nuclear republic. Today, in New York, we carry that same call for freedom, for equality, for justice. For over a century, Iranians have suffered under two dictatorships, monarchy and theocracy. The people's resounding message is clear. No to the Shah, no to mullahs, yes to a democratic republic. And let us remember that a democratic alternative exists. It is the National Council of Resistance of Iran, led by Maryam Rajavi. This rally calls on governments, international institutions, and democratic societies to stand with the resistance and recognize its path to freedom for the people of Iran and the path to the end of an epicenter of terrorism and war. To the thousands of you here today, gathered from over 40 states, I want to ask you to use your voice. Post on social media, on Instagram and on X especially. Use hashtags, hashtag 2025 Free Iran NY Rally, and hashtag Our Choice Maryam Rajavi. Let the world know why you're here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to MC this event. My name is Amir Mahdi, and right now it is my great honor to make the next introduction. We're now going to hear from Ms. Sona Samsami, the U.S. representative of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, as she reads a message from the president-elect of the NCRI, Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. Brothers and sisters, please help me give a warm welcome to Ms. Sona Samsami.
Change in Iran by the people of Iran. In Iran by the people of Iran.
با سلام به تک تک شما هزاران نفر که از سراسر آمریکا اینجا جمع شدین در پارک داگ همرشولد در مقابل سازمان ملل متحد. درود بر همه شما. امروز افتخار دارم که پیام خانم مریم رجوی رئیس جمهور برگزیده مقاومت برای دوران انتقال حاکمیت به مردم ایران رو برای شما بخونم. به دلیل حضور بسیاری از شخصیت‌های سیاسی که در حمایت از شما اومدن، به دلیل ده‌ها رسانه‌ای که الان اینجا حضور دارن، من پیام ایشون رو به انگلیسی براتون میگم. Message by Maryam Rajavi, President-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, to the New York rally, September 23rd, 2025. My fellow Iranians, distinguished guests, Ambassador Carlos Sanz, Ambassador Brownback, Gerald Walters, and dear Linda Chavez. I salute to every one of you. The insistence of my compatriots I salute every one of you. The insistence of my compatriots who gather here every year in protest is in fact support for the courageous youth and those who spark uprisings inside Iran. The perseverance is the Iranian people's asset for victory. The message from Paris to Rome, to Brussels, to New York, where all of you today are here, have gathered from all around the United States, is one and the same. It echoes the voices of Tehran, Mashhad, Ahvaz, Tabriz, Zahedan, Kerman, Kurdistan. And all across Iran, as well as in prisons and among the prisoners in Iran. The message is very simple and clear. Overthrow the regime. Democratic change, a democratic republic with freedom and democratic rights. And today our nation, together with you and through you, stands before the United Nations. The world sees that you represent the Iranian people. You are presenting the Iranian people. You are the voice of the Iranian people before the United Nations, not the president of Supreme Leader, who in just 14 months in office has executed 1,817 innocent people. Of course, our statistics are not complete, just as with the victims of COVID, where 3 days ago, according to figures publicly released by the executive deputy of Raisi's government, we learned that the real number of COVID victims was at least twice of what they announced, and more than 530,000 people, double that we have previously reported. So we have every right today to ask the UN, what does the representative of such an anti-human regime doing in United Nations? What is he doing at United States? This is a regime which, according to UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights, after 6 years of investigation, has concluded that this regime is entirely complicit in crimes against humanity and genocide. Isn't it time, according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, to recognize the struggle of Iranian people for resisting an uprising of the Iranian people to change this regime? The religious dictatorship in Iran has already condemned 75 times at the United Nations and other United Nations bodies for executions, torture, and horrific human rights violations and genocide. Here is our message today. The seat of the Iranian people at the United Nations must not be given to the regime of execution, torture, and massacre. Refer the case of genocide and crimes against humanity in Iran to the UN Security Council. Khamenei and those responsible for these crimes must be prosecuted in an international court. Do not remain silent in the face of brutal killings of Iranian youth who take to the streets in protest. If there had not been a decade of appeasement, and if the UN resolutions had not been suspended, there would have not been no need for war. It has become clear that the clerical regime will never abandon its nuclear project. And now, at the last minute, EU has no choice but to trigger the snapback mechanism. Isn't it true that if 23 years ago the Iranian resistance had not exposed and revealed the regime's secret nuclear program and the nuclear sites and projects, the mullahs would have long since armed themselves with the atomic bomb and confronted the world with a fate compelling, just like some other countries? Weren't the 133 revelations by the Iranian resistance in this nuclear weapons program of the Iranian regime, wasn't this what the act of Iranian resistance the greater service to peace and security in the world and in the Middle East? A service rendered without any expectation and not even a word of a thank by anyone. Were the United Nations and its members in such a deep slumber that it lasted all these years? And if there had not been a listening ear, would it have come to the war? Never. Since 1990, we have repeatedly declared that the clerical regimes consider nuclear weapons its only strategic guarantee for its survival. Its main war is against the Iranian people. Change and overthrow will also be achieved by the Iranian people themselves. In this remark, after the start of the 12-day war, Khamenei expressed concern about the dormant cells of the Mujahideen PMI MEK and their roadmap for uprising. Yes, this is his constant nightmare, day and night. But there are no dormant cells. The resistance units and the rebellion's youth are the most awake and vigilant fighters in Iran today. They are the living, passionate embodiment of a nation's hope for a freedom. As Masoud Rajavi has said, they are the ones who, with their bare hands, are swiftly closing the final gap to uprising. Our message for the Iran's future is very simple. The sovereignty of the people, just these two words, the People's Republic. We want neither mullah nor the Shah. The era of any type of dictatorship is over in Iran. Be it religious or monarchy, it's over. We will not return to the past. We have risen up against the current religious dictatorship. Let the world hear this today in front of the United Nations. Tomorrow belongs to us, to you. freedom. Salute to all of you that come from all over United States. Have a great day.
Democracy, freedom with Maryam Rajavi.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Iranian resistance is a movement with women in leadership. And today we are honored to be joined by some of its most powerful voices who stand against the misogyny of the mullah's regime, proving to the world that women are at the forefront of the fight for freedom. Please welcome Dr. Solmaz Abu Ali, a former refugee who became a professor of conflict resolution with a doctorate from George Mason University, a published author and consultant, a 15-time U.S. national champion and 3-time world champion in traditional karate. She's followed by Sarvi Golestani, an entrepreneur, designer, and award-winning MBA graduate who embodies the spirit of Iranian ingenuity. Finally, please welcome Setar Vatan, a tireless activist for human rights and a daughter of a former political prisoner who carries that legacy with strength and determination. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Let us first give a heartfelt congratulations to Mr. Masoud Rajavi and President-elect Maryam Rajavi for 60 years of never giving up the fight toward freedom in Iran and its people. Thank you for yesterday, thank you for today, and thank you for the beautiful tomorrow inside Iran. I'm honored to speak today, not just for a cause, but for a people who for over 40 years have been silenced, oppressed, and sacrificed for the sake of political deals and international appeasement. Inside Iran, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, the IRGC, brutally crushes peaceful protests, especially those led by women and youth. Iran executes more people per capita than any other nation, and these crimes are carried out by and under the protection of the IRGC. When we speak of human rights abuses, nuclear threats, or regional chaos, we are speaking about a regime kept alive by the IRGC. But the Iranian people have made their voices clear. In protests across hundreds of cities, they don't ask for reform, they demand regime change. And the good news is that they are not without leadership, because for 60 years, the MEK has led a fearless and organized resistance. They've paid the price, including 30,000 political prisoners massacred in 1988, most of whom were MEK members. Yet they've never stopped. Under the leadership of Mrs. Maryam Rajavi and the National Council of Resistance of Iran, the NCRI, has put forward a 10-point plan for a secular, democratic, and non-nuclear Iran, a future built on human rights, gender equality, and freedom for all. The NCRI is the only proven organized alternative to this regime, with real support inside Iran and among former and current world leaders. And let's be honest, monarchy has no place in Iran's future. The people won't accept another form of unelected rule after they once threw it into the dustbin of history, even if it is dressed in modern slogans, because we know that legitimacy Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. If we stay silent, we are complicit. If we act, We empower a nation fighting for its freedom. So let's not wait another 60 years. Let's stand with those who have bled, who have sacrificed, and who have never wavered. Let's help the people of Iran to bring down the regime once and for all. Thank you so much.
Rajavi, yes. Mullahs, no. They are terrorists. They must go. Down with Khamenei. Down with dictator.
Just talk? Okay. Hello? Is it working? Hello? Okay. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sarvi Golestane. I would like to give yourselves a round of applause for being here and showing up, especially to the non-Iranians, because there's power in numbers, and God knows that every single one of you has made such a huge difference today, so please give yourselves a round of applause. I am especially proud to stand with this movement for freedom, gender equality, and national sovereignty. I stand with the brave women of Iran and the diaspora in their resistance. The regime tries to reduce our struggles in any way that we can because they are afraid. They are afraid of this only democratic solution that is led by women. The terroristic regime tries to destroy this movement, imprison its members worldwide, and create fear. Why? Because this resistance is the only independent, organized, and democratic force capable of toppling the system and uprooting the regime. When it weaponizes us, it's not defending any form of faith. It's only defending tyranny and blatant terrorism. The only way forward is through listening to the voices of the Iranian women and giving them the platform that they deserve. That is why the streets of Iran chant back to the regime what we know in our hearts. We are marching forward to revolution. Zan Zindagi Azadi. Thank you.
Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran.
By the people of Iran.
زندانی سیاسی آزاد باید گردد. حکومت اعدامی نابود باید گردد.
Dear friends, my name is Setare Vatan, and I'm a licensed psychotherapist practicing in California. I stand before you today to shed light on the situation of psychologists and therapists in Iran. While Iran has professional structures, such as psychiatrists licensed through medical councils and psychologists and counselors licensed through the Psychology and Counseling Organization, the daily reality of mental health practice is shaped not only by clinical work, but also by politics and repression. Since the 2022 uprising following the killing of Mahsa Amini, the regime has intensified its crackdown on every segment of society. Mental health professionals have not been spared. Those who treat survivors of state violence and protest-related trauma risk being interrogated, harassed, or pressured to reveal patient information. The very foundation of therapy, confidentiality, and trust is undermined by surveillance and coercion. Yet, even amidst such tragedy, there is profound hope for the future of Iran. A new generation is courageously confronting the regime, recognizing that meaningful change cannot occur until the current theocracy is replaced by a government chosen by and accountable by the people. Across the country, resistance units continue to risk everything to keep the struggle for freedom alive. This vision for tomorrow's Iran is powerfully articulated in the 10-point plan by Ms. Maryam Rajavi. It is not only a promise, but a practical framework for a democratic and just society. The plan envisions a nation where leadership is determined by merit and professionalism, not by political loyalty or proximity to power. It guarantees equal rights for women, for ethnic and religious minorities, and for every citizen, regardless of their background. This struggle is about dignity. It is about freedom, and it is about life itself. So let us raise our voices for the doctors, the therapists, and above all, the women political prisoners of Iran. Their fight is our fight. Their freedom is our freedom. And here's to women, resistance, freedom. Thank you.
Check. We are now joined by a man who has confronted the evil of the Iranian regime firsthand. As a former NATO commander and supreme allied commander in Europe, he has an unparalleled understanding of global security and the threat posed by the mullah's regime. He knows that a free Iran is essential for global peace. Please welcome General Todd Walters.
Good morning and welcome to you all. First and foremost, let me compliment you on your indomitable spirit to be here. It's a reflection of great character, and it's a sign that you're willing to step up to the plate and be part of the solution, which is exactly what we need. Here in this sacred section of the United Nations soil, amongst all these incredible buildings, we are reminded of the complete preciousness of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Democracies across the globe revere their freedoms, and they revere the freedom that you are experiencing at this time. For far, far too long, decades and decades and decades, the good citizens of Iran have had to endure without this freedom. A regime that exports terrorism and crushes every spark of independent civil life is not representative of the true and sincere aspirations of the citizens of your great nation of Iran. We have and have had a clear democratic alternative for this illegitimate regime. The National Council of Resistance of Iran can and will deliver on this mandate and has prepared and researched and educated and practiced for decades and decades. Miriam Rajavi's 10-point plan represents the fight for Iran's freedom, justice, and democracy. Highlights of the plan are simple, yet strategic and very, very clear. Several that I must take the time to repeat. First and foremost, an independent legal system. Oh, the rejoice that will be brought to the great citizens of Iran. And in complete alignment with the current U.S. administration, a non-nuclear Iran and the equal participation of women in political leadership. To the 90+ million citizens of Iran, you deserve this change, and you deserve it soonest. To all of the resilient patriots who reside in Ashraf 3, we know this change cannot occur soon enough, and we are working tirelessly and tirelessly to ensure your well-being. Internal and external struggles, the geopolitics of planet Earth, have is ours and yours. Thank you.
امید ایرانه، عشق و امید خلق ایرانه، عشق و امید خلق ایرانه. جان جانانم تویی، عشق و ایمانم تویی، جان جانانم تویی، عشق و ایمانم تویی، چشم انتظار خلق قهرمان تویی، چشم انتظار خلق قهرمان تویی. فرمان بده ناخدا، فرمان بده ناخدا. جان جانانه امید ایرانه، جان جانانه امید ایرانه، عشق و امید خلق ایرانه، عشق و امید خلق ایرانه. جان جانانم تویی، عشق و ایمانم تویی، جان جانانم تویی، عشق و ایمانم تویی، چشم انتظار خلق قهرمان تویی، چشم انتظار خلق قهرمان تویی. فرمان بده ناخدا، فرمان بده ناخدا. جان جانانه امید ایرانه، جان جانانه امید ایرانه، عشق و امید خلق ایرانه، عشق و امید خلق ایرانه. جان جانانم تویی، عشق و ایمانم تویی، جان جانانم تویی، عشق و ایمانم.
Check. The struggle for freedom is carried by the next generation. These young leaders are not just demanding change, but actively building the new future for Iran, carrying forward the powerful and painful legacies of their family. Please welcome our youth delegation, which starts with Michelle Shariat, an Iranian-American activist pursuing a medical engineering degree. Hanif Ahadi, a George Mason University student. Saba Rezai, a graduate student and human rights activist. Parsa Arya, a law student in Texas. They will be accompanied on stage by their fellow activists, Persia, Kamyar, Miki, Yalda, Behrad, Maryam, Khadija, Setare, Alana, Ayla, Patrick, Nicola, Roya. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the youth delegation.
Hi, my name is Michelle Shariati. I was born here in the United States, the daughter of a German mother and an Iranian father, a former political prisoner of the Iranian regime. In the 1980s, my father was arrested for distributing MEK leaflets that dared to speak the truth. As a young activist, he endured solitary confinement, brutal torture, and watched his closest friends be executed, simply for believing that Iran deserved freedom. What struck me most in his story wasn't just his pain, it was his unwavering hope. Even in the darkest cells, he found light in the courage of others, especially the women who led resistance from within prison walls. He often says, it was their bravery that kept us all going. But on top of all of that, it was the inspirational role of Masoud Rajabi, whose fighting manner and consistent vision guided everyone and gave them hope. Through my father, I learned a powerful lesson. Freedom is not something you inherit, it's a path you choose to walk. I didn't simply inherit my father's struggle, I sought to understand it. I asked questions, I did the research, and I came to my own conclusion. The only movement with the clarity, courage, and consistency to uproot this regime is the MEK. That's why I stand here today as a conscious supporter of a democratic, secular, and non-nuclear republic in Iran. And to those of us who call us naive, who claim we are blindly following in our parents' footsteps, I say shame on you. Shame on you for dismissing the lived experiences of those who came before us. Shame on you for questioning our right to choose the path of freedom and resistance. Because the fight for democracy in Iran stands on the sacrifices of the MEK, and especially on the shoulders of the women of the MEK who have endured the regime's most vicious physical and verbal assaults. I'm a proud Iranian American woman, inspired, informed, and unafraid. And from 1,000 miles away, I raise my voice to say, I stand with the MEK, I stand with the NCRI, and I stand with Maryam Rajavi. Thank you.
My name is Hanif Ahadi. I'm proud to stand before you today, not only as a voice for my generation, but as a witness to the legacy of resistance that refuses to die. I stand for a free Iran, an Iran where the death penalty is abolished once and for all, an Iran where men and women are equal, no matter their religion, ethnicity, or background, an Iran where no cleric rules from a throne, and when the state and religion are separated by law. An Iran where power comes from the people through the ballot box, not from inheritance, bullets, prisons, or foreign deals. That Iran, the one we dream of, is fully reflected in Maryam Rajavi's 10-point plan. Yes, my grandfather, Mertash Amanpour, was killed by the regime in 1988. I never had the chance to know him, to hear his voice, ask why he resisted. But I am told that he was deeply inspired by Masoud Rajavi and his vision, the same vision that distanced millions of young people from Khomeini and mobilized them for freedom. But I do know what side of history he stood on, and I'm proud, deeply proud, to carry his flag for freedom. For me, his courage is not just a memory, it's a challenge to rise, a challenge to speak, a challenge to walk the same path, not with sorrow, but with strength. And above all, what inspires me most today is this, that this movement, the MEK, the NCRI, is led by women, women who have survived the gallows, who have stood unbroken in the face of tanks, who have endured betrayals, bombings, lies, and still lead with clarity, dignity, and true strength. That is why I'm here. Not out of nostalgia, not because I was told to, but because I made a choice, clear-eyed, deliberate, and moral choice to stand with the only force that the regime in Tehran truly fears, the organized, women-led, people-powered Iranian resistance. My name is Hanif Ahadi. I am a grandson of a martyr, but more importantly, I am the grandson of a vision that will not die, a vision that lives through us, a vision that says freedom is coming to Iran. And together with your voices, your courage, your presence, we will make it so. Long live Rajavi. Thank you.
Hi. My name is Parsa Arya. I was born in Texas, and I've never been in the land in which my father was born, Shiraz. Yet, Iran lives within me. It lives in the stories my family carries, in the memories of those who sacrificed everything for freedom, and in the unbroken struggle of the Iranian people. Today I stand here as part of a generation that refuses to accept dictatorship as Iran's destiny. We are here for one purpose: to demand a free, democratic, and secular Iran, a republic that belongs to its people, not to tyrants. I see you run every day through the courage of the brave young men and women in the resistance units, heroes of my generation. They risk their lives by organizing protests, exposing crimes the regime has committed, and giving hope to millions. Their defiance inspires us just as much as it inspires all those in Iran. Their message is simple and powerful. Dictatorship, whether it's in the form of a Shah or a supreme leader, will not stand. The future belongs to the people. This is why we call on the international community to recognize this independent movement for change. Didn't you see the tens of thousands of people gathered in Brussels in support of Mrs. Rajavi? And the 60 years the MEK has fought for democracy. And look at us here today. The alternative to the regime in Tehran has been in action for more than 4 decades. It is a blueprint, and it is the will of the Iranian people. The MEK's founders were students in 1965, determined to break free from the shackles of tyranny. Today, the resistance units are young Iranians inside the country, keeping that flame alive. And here we are, carrying that same flame across the ocean. Together, we form one movement, one struggle for freedom and for democracy. To the resistance units in Iran, your courage inspires us to speak out, to fight, and to stand with you. Together, across borders and generations, we will bring down this regime and build an Iran where freedom and justice prevail. To Brother Masood, who has guided the MEK through the turbulent challenges of 2 dictatorships, I say you have lit a flame within us from thousands of miles away, and nothing can extinguish it. Freedom is the promise of our time, and this is why I proudly say that we shall fight, we shall win. Viva Rajavi, and viva a free Iran.
Friends, families, distinguished guests, and dreamers for a free Iran. My presence with you here today is rooted within a desire, a vision, and a belief that history is on the side of those who tirelessly and endlessly seek justice. Since even before the revolution in 1979, Iranians moved through life with a simple principle: that fear has no space, no volume, and no power in defining how life is lived. It is in this sentiment, this sediment of resistance, that is synonymous with the people of Iran. Something that has been shown through and through again, almost cyclically, almost endlessly. From the mass protests of 2009, the bold uprisings of 2017 and 2019, and the nationwide collective unrest in 2022. The passion for change is one that has been paid with mind, body, and soul. Not in the figurative sense, but the literal. Everything is on the line, and Iranians know that, and have shown that without the slightest hesitation. Body, bones, and all. If anything, the 2022 collective wave of embers resistance became a turning point in illustrating the fragility and fragmentedness of the regime. It quickly dispelled the illusion that theocracy These are the minimums that will be accepted. Nothing less than this, as these are the non-negotiable terms that will lay the foundation of for the tranquility of democracy to finally take hold and to become a reality. A soon-to-be reality that is what is to come. What Iran will become is nothing short of historical significance, as it has been the women, the youth, and the children that have put it into motion. They are the architects of Iran's democratic future. And they are, or rather should I say, we are the ones whose voices will be loud, bold, and center. We are the ones who have led in the streets, bled in the streets, have been tied up, stoned to death in sheets. We are the ones who are exhausted by the empty promises of the West, or those who think they know our country better than we do. Those who have sat on imaginary thrones and call themselves king, but embody the tyranny and the misogyny of yesteryear. Remember, incapable is the head that wears the crown. For what we want goes beyond an individual, goes beyond a crown, goes beyond a dated, fundamentalist, anachronistic system. What we are seeking is a pluralistic, culturally diverse, and religiously open society led by the people, for the people of Iran. And this is done with the backing, the support, and the organized leadership of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, the NCRI, the only viable alternative to this regime. So today, as we are gathered in front of the United Nations, we will not allow for these various murderers, thugs, and executioners to pass by as anything other than what they truly are, a stain on Iranian history. Their invitation here today does not equate legitimatization, nor does it somehow wash away the sins, the atrocities, the countless deaths that these officials took part in so easily. There is no place for them here, and there never will be. So as we stand, what we are united for is a clear alternative. A future defined by democracy, secular governance, equal rights for women and men, and a non-nuclear Iran, something Ms. Maryam Rajavi highlighted 22 years ago in her progressive 10-point plan for the future of Iran. To the international community, we say, enforce the Security Council resolutions you have already made and already passed. Recognize the Iranian people's right to choose their own government. Take immediate concrete measures to halt the wave of executions and protect political prisoners. No more appeasement. No more business as usual while people are being executed for dissent. The path to a free Iran will be decided by Iranians. The world can and must help by denying the regime impunity, by supporting the people's organized movement for democracy, and by holding perpetrators accountable in courts and in sanctions lists. This is why we are here today. Forward to revolution, forward to a free and democratic Iran. Thank you. مرگ بر ستمگر، چه شاه باشه چه رهبر.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker knows firsthand the importance of diplomacy backed by strength. She is the Vice Chair of Foreign Policy at America First Policy Institute. As a former U.S. ambassador to Denmark, she has long stood with the Iranian people, advocating for the recognition of their organized resistance as the only viable path to a democratic, secular republic. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Ambassador Carla Sands.
Good morning. Good morning. My friends, my fellow freedom lovers, and you, the courageous Iranian community gathered here today. There is so much joy here today. And yes, there is so much righteous anger here today. It is my profound honor to stand with you here at the United Nations in the heart of New York City and to speak the truth about Iran and the enduring struggle for freedom, a struggle that has spanned 6 decades. Thank you for coming from all over the world. We are here today because the Iranian people have been silenced inside their own country. But here, right here, their voices are heard loudly, clearly, and with urgency. Let's begin with the regime's most brutal weapon, mass executions. In August alone, the Iranian regime executed 170 people. Think about that, 170 lives extinguished in just 1 month. And in July, 2 members of the People's Mojahedin Organization of Iran, the MEK, were executed. And today, 15 more face imminent death. This is not justice. This is murder. Systemic, state-sanctioned murder by a regime terrified of its own people. And under the so-called moderate president, Masoud Pezeshkian, nearly 1,800 executions have already taken place. This is the highest number under any president since the 1988 mass executions of thousands of political prisoners. So let's be clear. Pezeshkian has no place at the United Nations. And he should not be welcomed in New York City. The Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, and all their accomplices must be brought before an international court and held accountable for 4 decades of crimes against humanity and genocide. The clerical rulers of Tehran are trying to drown the cries for liberty in blood. But no matter how many they hang, the people's yearning for freedom only grows stronger. And while this vile regime tightens its grip at home, it continues to deceive the world abroad. Once again, Tehran is engaged in endless nuclear talks. But let's be honest, these are not negotiations. They're delay tactics designed to buy time and inch them closer to nuclear weapons capability. Every day of delay, every concession brings the world closer to a nuclear-armed theocracy. And that's not just a threat to the Iranian people. This is a regional and global threat to our peace and security. The international community must stop rewarding this regime for its lies. The only safe policy is strength and maximum pressure. Now let me address another danger, the illusion of false alternatives. Some seek to revive failed monarchies of the past. Reza Pahlavi presents himself as a future leader, but let's examine his so-called roadmap. His plan is a plan for dictatorship, dressed in modern slogans, centralized power in one man, no elections, no accountability. This is not democracy, it's dictatorship. The Iranian people have already rejected both the Shah and the mullahs. They will not go backward. They will not trade a turban for a crown. They threw out monarchy 46 years ago, and they will not resurrect it. But there's a real alternative, a democratic alternative, an organized movement. For 60 years, the MEK has stood firm against both tyrannies, the Shah and the mullahs. It was the MEK that first exposed Tehran's secret nuclear weapons program. And without their courage, the world might never have known what the mullahs were up to. Those revelations led to international sanctions and pressure that the regime still fears today. And that's why the mullahs invest so much in demonizing the MEK, because they know this movement is their existential threat. And just last week in Brussels, tens of thousands of Iranians from across Europe gathered in a massive rally marking the MEK's 60th anniversary. And what stood out most was the sea of young people standing shoulder to shoulder with their parents and grandparents. And this is living proof that the resistance is not just alive, it has the backing of the Iranian people. And inside Iran, the resistance units, brave young men and women affiliated with the MEK, are expanding their activities in every city. They're showing the regime their days are numbered. And I want to share something personal. I've had the privilege of meeting Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, the president-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, or NCRI, on several occasions. And each time I've come away deeply impressed by her unwavering commitment, her sacrifice, and her leadership. One thing that inspires me is her elevation of women to the highest ranks of the resistance. In a region where women are often marginalized, she has made them central to her fight for freedom. And I wholeheartedly support her 10-point plan for a democratic, secular, and non-nuclear republic in Iran. It's a vision that is rooted in human rights and equality and justice. It's a roadmap to freedom, and it's an alternative that the world must rally behind. So let's be clear. The regime in Tehran is beyond reform. Its record is written in blood. Mass executions, terrorism abroad, nuclear deception, and 4 decades of tyranny. The solution is not appeasement. The solution is not war. The solution is the Iranian people and their organized resistance. It is time. It is time for the United Nations and every democracy around the world to hold the regime accountable for crimes against humanity. It is time to demand a halt to the executions, especially for political prisoners. It is time to trigger snapback sanctions on Tehran's nuclear program. And most of all, it is time to recognize the right of the Iranian people to overthrow this tyranny and establish a free, democratic, and secular Iran. The message from Brussels, from Ashraf 3, and from gatherings like this one here today is crystal clear. The Iranian people reject dictatorship, whether in black robes or crowns. They want freedom. They want democracy. They want a free Iran. So let us stand firm. Let us raise our voices. Let us speak the truth. And let us say with conviction, no to dictatorship, yes to democracy, and yes to a free Iran. Be bold. Be fearless. Now is your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Sands. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another ambassador, Ambassador Sam Brownback, former governor of Kansas and a vocal advocate for human rights and religious freedom, served as ambassador at large for international religious freedom, and as senator, he championed the Iran Democracy Act and the Iran Democratic Transition Act. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome from Ambassador Sam Brownback.
Thank you. It is so good to be here with you. It is so good to be here with you. Thank you for how much you've stood solid, stood strong for years. I've been working on this movement and with this movement for decades. I admire your resilience, your strength. You've stayed with it. You've not given up hope. And now To use a football term, we're in the red zone. It's time to push into victory. Push into victory. We're there. And I come here remembering my old colleagues, Senator John McCain, Senator Joe Lieberman, who were solidly behind this cause and are from heaven now saying freedom in Iran. Freedom in Iran. That's what they're saying, and that's what we should be about as well. I'm impressed. You've showed the world what this regime in Iran is about. It's a terrorist regime. It's a nuclear weapons seeking regime. It's a regime of slavery and of shortages in Iran. This regime has done nothing for the people of Iran in 45 years. Nothing but misery for the people of Iran. What's improved in Iran in 45 years? What's gotten better? What has happened? It's nothing but gone down in that period of time. It is time to change the regime in Tehran. It's past time to change that regime in Tehran. And no more to the empty promises by the mullahs and the Ayatollah towards the world community. They've given empty promises. They've tried to beguile the world for years. They haven't met any of these promises. They've been nothing but suffering for the people of Iran. It's time for this regime to change, for there to be regime change in Tehran. Mrs. Rajavi leads a women's revolution in Iran. This is one of the first, if not the first, women-led revolution in world history. This is a great thing to see taking place. Move it forward. It's a youth-led movement. As I see all these young people in front of me here, this is a youth-led movement in Iran for change. They want a free, democratic Iran. That's what we want. That's what we're calling for, so that the Iranian people can pursue their own future, their own liberty, and pick their own leaders. You know, I think it's been interesting to me that after the difficulty that Iran is in, after the attacks that have taken place, of course, they attacked Israel, and the bombing that took place of Israel, of Iran, and the United States, who was the regime most concerned about after that? It was the people of Iran that they turned their guns on, not on their weapon, on the enemies. It was on the people of Iran. Why is the regime in Tehran, and I'd ask the people in Iran to answer this question, why is the regime in Tehran more scared of its own people than of Israel? Because they know the people don't support the regime. The people don't support it. They're literally more concerned about the people overthrowing them, the will of the people coming forward, than they are about Israel. Does that tell you something there? It's time for the people to take over their own country. And this great civilization that is Iran, the Persian civilization, will rise again and will be celebrated around the world. The truth of the matter is, the regime in Tehran fears the people of Iran. They fear the people. What kind of regime is that? One that hides and attacks its own people, that arrests and kills its own people to maintain power, and then also to force a sort of religion that is a compulsion on the own people. Mrs. Rajavi is a very religious woman, but she does it out of freedom, not out of compulsion. That's what religion should be about. It's about freedom, freedom of your own heart to pursue the God that you see and that you want. It's not about compulsion that they're forcing. Indeed, in the Quran, there's no compulsion in religion. This religion that's forcing this is wrong. It's wrong from the Quran. It's wrong from Quranic sources. The world, along with the people of Iran, need a free Iran, and they want a free Iran. The world supports a free Iran. A free Iran. That is, except for a few select dictators around the world who want a dictatorship in Iran. The Chinese dictatorship, the Russian dictatorship wants a dictatorship in Iran because they can't stand the will of the people. We want the will of the people. Iran doesn't belong in this axis of evil that's seeking to take over the world for autocrats and dictators around the world. They deserve to be in the freedom of the people around the world. And in the end, and soon, freedom will win. Freedom will win. In the end, freedom will win. This women-led movement will win. Tyranny will lose. Tyranny's going to lose. It will lose. It's against the trajectory of history. This great civilization that is Iran will rise in splendor again. This ancient, beautiful, productive, great civilization will rise again. And it'll be great. I want to end on this note. I've got a friend of mine, he's a biblical scholar, and he was sending me a prophecy about Iran in the Bible, and it's a beautiful one. And it's in Jeremiah, and he writes in here, and this is, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, behold, I am going to break the bow of Iran, the finest weapons of their strength, and I will bring upon Iran the four winds from the four corners of heaven." The Iranian people have been scattered throughout the world. They've been scattered. "I will scatter them towards all those winds, and there will be no nation to which the outcast of Iran will not go. So I will cause Iran to be shattered before their enemies and before those who seek their lives. And I will send the sword after them until I have consumed them. Then I will set my throne of judgment in Iran, and I will destroy from there the kings and princes, says the Lord. But," and listen to this, this is where we are right now, this point, "but I will be in the last days that I will reverse the captivity and restore the fortunes of Iran." Restoring, thus says the Lord. We decree and declare that today the fortunes of Iran, once these mullahs get kicked out of office, are going to be restored. This is going to be a powerful, beautiful nation that will reach around the world in what it gives to the world and what it helps with the world, not in terrorism, but in help and in support and in education and in civilization and all the good things that humanity is about, all the good things that the civilization of Iran is about. That's what you're going to do when the Ayatollah gets kicked out of office. You're going to restore that and grant that to the world. And it's going to be beautiful. Next year in Tehran. Let's meet there. God bless you all.
Regime change in Iran by the people of Iran.
Ladies and gentlemen, to honor the resilience and unwavering spirit of the Iranian people in their struggle for freedom, we have a special tribute, a heartfelt musical performance dedicated to their enduring courage. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the beautiful voice of Helena and the violin of Kamal as they deliver a moving musical tribute to the Iranian people.
شب خانه
میشه باز مژده خورشیدمون از چشم ما میرسه روزای روشنمون داره از راه میرسه اون خزون انتظار سر اومد بهار
با هم بخونیم
تو میدونی چی گذشت تو این شبا می نشست نیزه ظلمت تو دلا اما سنگری که داشتیم از وفا آینه شد تو آینه آرزوها مژده خورشیدمون از چشم ما میرسه روزای روشنمون داره از راه میرسه اون خزون انتظار سر اومد بهار ماه خورشید و همه ستاره ها خنده دارن رو لب از خنده ما رنگ شب پریده از شادی ما بزا گستش بشه آزادی ما مژده خورشیدمون از چشم ما میرسه روزای روشنمون داره از راه میرسه اون خزون انتظار سر اومد بهار
مرسی
Bravo, bravo. Make some noise for Helena Kamal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, one of our final guests is a lifelong champion of human rights and equality. As former director of the White House Office of Public Liaison, she has been a powerful voice for the Iranian people, standing with the Iranian resistance and exposing the regime's misogynistic nature. Please help me in giving a warm welcome to Mrs. Linda Chavez.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You have given me such a warm welcome, and I say to you, I am so proud to stand here in New York City with the thousands of Iranian Americans and Iranian diaspora from not just the United States, but around the world. And so my greetings to you, to the Iranian diaspora in Europe and elsewhere, and very importantly to those in Ashraf 3, but also in Iran. For more than 46 years, the theocratic regime in Iran has denied the Iranian people their freedom. But the time when the Ayatollahs could rule with an iron fist is coming to an end. In the last year, we have watched their power slipping away. The regime's efforts to produce nuclear weapons have been dealt a death blow, with damaged facilities bombed at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, not to mention the regime's humiliation at having its security apparatus penetrated by a foreign government. The country is also experiencing now a major drought, which the Ayatollahs seem incapable or uninterested in searching for ways to alleviate the people's suffering. The regime spends far more time, money, and energy on persecuting its citizens than it does on making their lives better. In 2025 alone, the mullahs have executed 800 people. In 1 week alone, Between September 8th and September 15th, the regime hanged 15 prisoners. But not content simply at imprisoning, torturing, and killing anyone who would protest the human rights abuses of this murderous regime, they have sunk to new lows by desecrating burial sites for the thousands of dissidents and MEK members who were executed in the 1980s. When will it end? And how will it end? As the successful bombing campaign over 12 days in June suggests, war alone is unlikely to accomplish true change in Iran. Bombs can destroy facilities and kill functionaries of the regime, but buildings can be rebuilt and a new group of functionaries found to replace those who have died. It is the regime itself, the perversion of religious teaching, the extensive network of secret police, vice squads, and others, the corruption of the judicial system, the use of terror to keep people in line, that must be destroyed. But that kind of change will come only at the hands of the Iranian people. And it will mean standing the system itself on its head. Some in the West have believed for a very long time that the problem of a nuclear-armed Iran can be solved with negotiations, or that the next sham elections will produce moderate leadership. But in order for those solutions to work, you must have leaders who respect the rule of law. No agreement is worth more than the integrity of those who have affixed their name to it. And elections in which the ruling party determines who can run will never be honest or fair. The Iranian people deserve better. Thousands of you have come to New York to demand an end to the Khamenei regime. This rally calls for an end to theocracy and tyranny in Iran and the establishment of a democratic, secular, and non-nuclear Iran. We are standing just a stone's throw away from the United Nations, which brings back memories of how I came to be involved with the PMOI MEK. This year is the 60th anniversary of the founding of the PMOI MEK, fighting two dictatorships. And I have been with you for more than half of that time. In 1992, I was the U.S. expert to the United Nations Human Rights Committee Subcommittee on the Prevention of Discrimination and Protection of Minorities, which met each August in Geneva. During my first year there, a representative of the MEK asked me to sponsor a resolution condemning human rights abuses in Iran, particularly the regime's treatment of women. I was honored to do so, and to be joined by my colleague from Great Britain in doing so. During the more than 30 years since, I have gotten to know the leadership of the PMOI MEK and have happily supported their long struggle for the Iranian people. That struggle has put them in the crosshairs even of the United States government when the group was designated a terrorist organization. Thankfully, and I am proud to have been part of the effort, that designation was removed, but it should never have been applied in the first place. I have been impressed as I encountered the resistance movement here and abroad, especially in my visits to Ashraf III in Albania. The people I have met there have been selfless, dedicated, and committed to establishing a free Iran. Of course, no one more so than Maryam Rajavi, the president-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran. Mrs. Rajavi presented her blueprint for a free Iran in 2006, the 10-point plan. It remains today a roadmap for a democratic, secular, non-nuclear Iran. It calls for the separation of religion and state, an independent judiciary, equal rights for men and women, universal suffrage, freedom of speech and assembly, respect for civil and human rights, and a commitment not to build nuclear bombs. No one can predict the future, but one thing is certain: change is coming. The only question is what kind of change. It would be, in my view, a mistake for Iranians to look backwards for leadership. The Shah was a murderous dictator. It seems inconceivable to me that Iran's future lies in giving power to his son, a man who boasts of his relationship with the IRGC and sees them as playing a role in a future Iran? But that will be up to the Iranian people, or it should be. And it is not up to power brokers in world capitals to make that choice. I see in Mrs. Rajavi a beacon of change. As a woman, as someone who has lost family, friends, and colleagues to a murderous regime, she knows better than most what the Ayatollahs have done to Iran. She has fought tirelessly for decades to give hope to her people. Mrs. Rajavi is not asking for governments around the world to choose her to rule Iran. She is asking for the Iranian people to be given the opportunity to choose their own leader. She has no interest in being a puppet to anyone. She wants to be a servant of the Iranian people, freely chosen in elections that provide universal suffrage and that will bring a new day to Iran. It is such a privilege to be here in the streets of New York with all of you and to be addressing those who are watching by video around the world. I hope that your message today is heard in those corners, but it needs to be heard not far from here by one man, a very special member of the audience, the President, Masoud Pezeshkian. And I have one message for him, and hear it loud and clear. Change is coming.
Yes, Mullahs know they are terrorists, they must go. Mullahs know they are terrorists, they must go. Rajavi, yes, Mullahs
Thank you so
know
much,
they are
Mrs.
terrorists,
Chavez.
They must go. Rajavi, yes, Mullahs know they are terrorists, they must go.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is a great friend and powerful voice of solidarity from the Ukrainian community. He stands with us today and with the Iranian people in our shared struggle against tyranny. Please help me welcome Leon Grytsak.
Friends, I stand here as Ukrainian, representing a nation that knows what it means to fight for survival against tyranny. Every day, Ukrainians wake up to the sound of air raid sirens. Every day, our youth are on the front lines defending our right to exist as a free and independent people. And this is not only our struggle. It is the same struggle that the youth of Iran are carrying forward with extraordinary courage. Ukraine and Iran are separated by geography, but bound by a single truth. Our futures are held hostage by regimes that fear freedom. The same hands in Tehran that execute young Iranians at home are the ones that build drones used to bomb Ukrainian cities. When we bury our dead after a missile strike, we see not only Moscow's fingerprints, but Tehran's as well. For Ukrainians, what you face is deeply familiar. In 2013 and 2014, our students stood in Kyiv, Independence Square, which is called Maidan, demanding dignity, justice, and a European future. They were met with a riot police, beatings, and bullets. More than 100 young Ukrainians were killed in those months. But their sacrifice ignited a revolution that changed our nation forever. That moment taught us something important. Dictatorships appear unshakable until the people rise and make them fall. And today, we see the same courage in Iran's young generation. Just as our Maidan was led by students, Iran's movement is led by youth who refuse to bow down. I stand in admiration of organized resistance of NCRI led by Mrs. Maryam Rajavi and the fearless Iranian youth who fight as resistance units inside Iran. We honor the political prisoners who continue to endure repression, and we remember the brave souls such as Mehdi Hassan, who has paid the ultimate price in the recent weeks. Their sacrifice speaks to the same universal truth as Ukrainians know as well. Freedom is never granted, it is won. This is why our struggles are inseparable. The alliance of dictatorships, Moscow and Tehran, means that freedom movements in Ukraine and Iran must also be allied. When one of us rises, the other grows stronger. When one of us falters, the other feels the blow. We as Ukrainians call on our partners in a democratic world to see this connection clearly. Support for Ukraine weakens Tehran's regime, and support for Iranians demanding freedom weakens Moscow. This is one fight, the global fight for a world where no nation lives under the shadow of tyranny. So to the young people of Iran, know this, you're not alone. Ukrainians recognize your courage because it's mirrors to our own. From Kyiv to Tehran, from Kharkiv to Shiraz, our voices are joined. We both fight for dignity, self-determination, and for the right to shape our own destiny. And together we will see freedom win. Glory to Ukraine and freedom to Iran. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a short message from Dr. Anna Sami. She is a human rights lawyer in Washington, D.C. Please help me welcome Anna Sami.
سلام به همگی هموطنان عزیزم. برای اطلاعتون اول بگم که به دلیل وضعیت فوق‌العاده امنیتی که اینجا هست و میبینید، پلیس که مسئول حفاظت سازمان ملل و محوطه مقابل داگ هامرشکول پلازا که الان هستیم، پلیس موافقت نکردن که هیچ گروهی ایرانی یا غیر ایرانی که اینجا برای 2 ساعتی که با تلاش زیاد اجازه تظاهرات داده LED و پلاسما بیاریم. بنابراین ما نتونستیم با صوت و تصویر با خواهر مریم وصل بشیم. وقتی که خواهر مریم خبردار شدن، سلام رسوندن و براتون پیام فرستادن که خانم سمسامی براتون خوندن. با تشکر خیلی زیاد.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to introduce our final speaker. You're going to help me welcome a true Iranian legend, a man who won gold medals for Iran and who now fights for the freedom of its people. He won the title of national hero, which he has lived up to for decades. The chairman of the Committee of Athletics for the National Council of Resistance of Iran. Please help me in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Mohsen Iskandar Filobi.
خسته نباشید. متشکرم. درود بر همه شما هم میهنان دلاور، شجاع و آزادی خواه و استقلال طلب ایران. امروز ما اینجا ایستاده ایم تا صدای میلیون ها ایرانی باشیم که تحت حاکمیت یک رژیم سرکوبگر زندگی می کنند. آخوندهای حاکم بیش از 4 دهه است که نه تنها مردم ایران بلکه امنیت و صلح جهانی را به گروگان گرفتند. در ایران حقوق بشر به طور سیستماتیک نقض می شود. آمار اعدام ها به ویژه در مورد جوانان، اقلیت های قومی و مذهبی و حتی معترضان خیابانی یکی از بالاترین ها در جهان است. هر صدایی که برای آزادی و بلند شود، هر صدایی که برای عدالت بلند شود، با زندان، شکنجه، طناب دار مواجه می شود. مادران بیشماری فرزندان خود را تنها به جرم آزادی خواهی از دست دادند. جنایت این رژیم محدود به مرزهای ایران نیست. گروگانگیری شهروندان، دخالت‌های نظامی و تروریستی در منطقه و تهدید امنیت جهانی بخشی از سیاست‌های ثابت جمهوری ایران است. در منطقه و تهدید امنیت جهانی بخشی از سیاست‌های جمهوری اسلامی است. این رژیم با استفاده از دیپلماسی گروگانگیری کشورهای آزاد را وادار به معامله و سکوت می کند. اما در مقابل این دیکتاتوری وحشی و سرکوبگر، تاریخی از مقاومت‌ها و مبارزات پاکترین فرزندان مردم ایران چهره واقعی وطنشان را نشان دادند. کانون‌های شورشی قهرمانان که روزها در سخت‌ترین شرایط اختراق خواب را بر چشمان خامنه‌ای و نظام فاسدش حرام کردند، امید مردم ستمدیده ایران برای رهایی از شر این رژیم جنایتکار و فاسد و دیکتاتور است. امروز در مقابل مقر ملل متحد سؤال ما این است: آیا زمان آن نرسیده است که سازمان ملل از بیعملی به عمل برسد و مکانیزم بین المللی برای محاکمه جنایتکاران حاکم بر ایران را به کار گیرد؟ مردم ایران بهای این بیعملی را هر روز با قربانیان بیشتر می‌دهند. باید به صراحت بگویم سیاست مماشات با این رژیم لکه ننگی در تاریخ معاصر است. دنیا باید بداند که معامله با این رژیم معامله با خون مردم ایران است. هموطنان عزیز، در تظاهرات 6 سپتامبر 10,000 نفر از ایرانیان در بروکسل شعار مرگ بر ستمگر، چه شاه باشه چه رهبر دادند. ستمگر چه شاه باشه چه رهبر، مرگ بر ستمگر چه شاه باشه چه رهبر، مرگ بر ستمگر چه شاه باشه چه رهبر. خواست مردم ایران برای دستیابی به آرمان آزادی، عدالت و زندگی صلح به جهانیان اعلام کرد. شما اعضای مقاومت ایران 10 سال است تحت رهبری آقای مسعود رجوی و خانم مریم رجوی با این حکومت جلاد مبارزه می کنید. مردم ایران امیدوارند دول عضو ملل متحد با کلمات بلکه با عمل، نه با کلمات بلکه با عمل مانع تداوم جنایت توسط ملاهای حاکم شوند. آخوندهای حاکم نماینده مردم ایران نیستند. هموطنان عزیز، مردم ایران به جان آمدند و مشتاق یک دیگرگونی بزرگند. جامعه به سوی قیام در حرکت است. رژیم ولایت فقیه پی در پی شکست می‌خورد و در حال احتضار است. سیاست مماشات با فاشیسم دینی شکست خورده است و کانونهای شورشی با جنگاوری و فداکاری در حال سازماندهی قیامند. پس به فرمان فرمانده کل ارتش آزادی گوش بسپاریم که گفت یک گام تا قیام. و همه نیروهای رزمنده انقلاب دموکراتیک در جبهه خلق را به آماده باش فراخواند. پاسخ به او میگوییم ما فدای ایران و فدای قیام ایران ما آماده ایم و فریاد میزنیم حاضر 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 برای آزادی مردم، برای آزادی مردم و استقلال ایران. حاضر 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 برای به درک واصل کردن آخوندهای جنایتکار و مزدورانش. حاضر 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 حاضر. متشکرم از لطفتون.
مسعود رهبر ماست، پیروزی از آن ماست. مسعود رهبر ماست، پیروزی از آن ماست.
Ladies and gentlemen, look around you once more and feel this incredible energy. Put your flags in the air and wave them, make your noise. You are the heartbeat of a nation. You are the hope of a people who have suffered for far too long. With or without the hijab, with or without fear, the Iranian people are united and they are unstoppable. As we conclude the events now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. We will have another final performance by Kamal with his beautiful violin. I want you to take videos, put it on X, put it on Instagram. Again, the hashtags are 2025 Free Iran NY Rally and hashtag Our Choice Maryam Rajavi.
Thank you.